We are live.
Okay, you need.
Hi, Pamela. How are you? What a day. Lisa L., if you could hear me, thanks for coming into the Zoom today. Sorry that I think I was driving when you were there and I didn't know, and I was going in and out of mountainous areas. But thanks for coming in. I appreciate that. I hope you come in again. Let's see. Hi, Deborah Vancouver Den. How's everybody doing? Hold on 1 minute. I gotta tell Jimmy to lower that. Okay. I better go into live chat. Hi, Linda. Hi, Nicole. YouTube layout looks completely different. Mine doesn't. Really? Hi, Sean Sneed. Hi, Jeannie. Jeannie, you got the addresses that you need, right? Hi, Margot. Hi, Rosalita. I've had a crazy day running around all over. Hi, Flo. Hi, Carolyn, and all my friends. Where have you been? No, well, I got some stuff. We're having an auction tomorrow, and I ended up getting some things. Yeah, Christmas. Some Christmas stuff and stuff and such. Stuff and such and such. I don't think I put my other necklace on. Huh. YouTube had an update today for him, wife? Really? Mine doesn't look any different. I don't know. Hi, Kathy Williams. Hi, everybody. You're welcome, Jeannie. Hi, Rubbity Bub. All right, so let's talk about, we were talking about, there was a guy in New York that was arrested because he pretended that his son had leukemia and died, and then showed a box that he said the ashes of his son were in order to scam coworkers. And the thing is, he did all this for like $1,000 and then maybe an extra $1,500 from somebody, and he really has a son that's alive and well, and it's just crazy stuff. Trying to find that. We were just looking at that. Here it is. He I don't know whether this was, come on, get over there. Dog's ashes or what. But that's what he said, with this zip tie on them. And his name is Caleb Stevens, 30 years old, cheated his coworkers and boss at Fine Line Contractors in Adams out of more than $1,500 by claiming that his son had died of cancer. Now, the administrative assistant said to police that in August, Caleb Stevens was having breakdowns at work, which he claimed were due to his son's death. He allegedly said he could not cover his son's funeral because he was recently scammed. In turn, his coworkers reportedly donated $1,070, while his employer paid him $510 for 32.5 hours of bereavement leave. And he allegedly told the authorities that his son had stage 3 leukemia and died in the hospital on August 4th. However, the investigators found that Caleb Stevens' son is alive and well. Now, Caleb's boss provided a picture that Stevens allegedly sent to him, which depicts what he claimed were his son's ashes. Police also alleged that at least 2 other people donated a total of $1,500 to Stevens after he claimed his son died. And so he was initially arrested in early October on charges of first-degree scheme to defraud and fourth-degree grand larceny. He was charged with additional counts of the same crime on Tuesday, according to the Watertown Daily Times, and he was issued a ticket to appear in Jefferson County Court on November 16th. Hold on one second. I've got to calm down the tribes. Okay, so now let's see what else we have. They get so crazy playing. Where are we now? Woman. So this is, I think this is the woman. If this is not this woman that we heard about last week, it's another woman. Police in Michigan have arrested a man in connection with a body found in the back of a pickup truck after him. Oh, this is the minor fender bender where the kid bolted out. Minor fender bender last week. They found that it was 62-year-old Gabrielle Seats' body, and it showed obvious signs of strangulation, including a shoelace that was around her neck. Stephen Lee Freeman, 19, was charged with receiving and concealing a dead body and concealing the death of an individual, and he was given $75,000 cash bond. Judge rejected prosecutor's request for a $250,000 bond, saying that if Freeman is later charged with murder, the bond can be revisited. Authorities said the homicide portion of the case is still under investigation, and those charges are expected later. Prosecutor Peter Lucido said that investigators are looking at other persons of interest and more arrests are possible. Well, what happened was the pickup truck rear-ended another vehicle in Roseville on Thursday afternoon, and then the driver fled on foot. While investigating the accident, the Roseville police discovered this woman's body in the covered truck bed. Now, her son, Justin Omens, says he doesn't know Freeman and that the truck he was driving belonged to his mother. He was going to go somewhere with my mom's body. He could have dumped it somewhere, and he could have took the truck and took it to a junkyard and had it crushed, and I would not know where my mom would be. His mother, Omen said, was the sweetest person alive that everyone loved. Investigators say that Freeman is homeless. He is due back in court for probable cause hearing on November 9th. Yeah, it's looking to me like maybe somebody else was involved, like they say, and that somebody might be somebody close to her. Now, Michael Valva did not take the stand today in the murder trial for his son, Thomas Valva. So let's see. The defense rested its case, and they're going to start with their closing arguments. So let me see here. But the divorce lawyer, I believe, took the case. So the doctor that took the stand on Monday said it was a rebuttal witness in connection with the death of 8-year-old Thomas Valva. Dr. David Sansing testified as a rebuttal witness for the prosecution and said that it was reasonably likely that Thomas, who passed away in 2020, suffered a heart attack causing fatal damage. Dr. Sansing rebutted the findings of Dr. Karen Zafran, who testified for the defense that Thomas went into cardiac arrest on the morning of his death after his father put him in a warm bath. According to the defense's doctor, Dr. Zafran, Thomas could have been resuscitated for hours after his 10:28 a.m. death, adding that doctors should have treated the boy for hypothermia immediately after he arrived at the Long Island Community Hospital in Patchogue. Sandstring, however, said that Thomas's chances for survival were dismal and that the care staff behaved and provided care in an exemplary fashion and were beyond reproach. Defense lawyer Anthony LaPinta agreed Sandstring's findings, he argued Sandstring's findings, accusing him of having little experience with hypothermia, saying, and I quote, "So I think it's very clear that the witness has very, very minimal experience in hypothermia. It was just so abundantly clear from cross-examination, and hence, I don't think any of the conclusions he reached regarding hypothermia should be given much weight at all." Prosecutors say that Thomas and his 10-year-old brother Anthony were forced to sleep in a freezing garage, and the defendant hosed Thomas down with a water hose outside on the morning of his death. Prosecutors told the jury during opening statements that Thomas and Anthony suffered years of abuse at the hands of their father, often arriving at school with bruises and scratching and hungry. They were observed at school literally eating crumbs off the floor, said the Assistant Suffolk County District Attorney Laura Newcomb. Now, Valva's attorney laid the blame at the stepmother's feet, Angela Polina, saying she constantly told Michael Valva that he was being too lenient with the boys, and Valva was desperate to make things work with her, but they painted her as the wicked stepmother. And the lawyers said during opening statements that Michael Valva never ever thought that either of his boys could die from being in that garage. And let me get to about today where he does not take the stand and they rest. Let me see. Okay. So Michael, let's put him up there. Michael Valva did not take the stand on Wednesday, as was initially thought possible. His attorney confirmed that on Tuesday, after weeks of explosive and anguished testimony in the murder trial of the ex-NYPD officer Valva, whose son Thomas 8 froze to death in his father's garage in 2020. It was initially thought that Valva could take the stand Wednesday, tomorrow. But nope, it's been confirmed by the defense attorney John LaTurco that Valva will not testify. The defense rested its case on Tuesday. Today there will be no proceedings Wednesday, and summations are expected to begin Thursday morning in Riverhead. So nothing tomorrow, Thursday. Then Valva's then fiance Angela Polina is going to have a separate trial. I don't know if they have a date for that yet. During the last day of testimony on Tuesday, Tony Macia, the head of security of Long Island Community Hospital, where Thomas was declared deceased, said Valva was distraught. NYPD Transit Officer Kenneth Wengert also testified that Valva was crying, wailing, and moaning after seeing his son's body at the morgue. There were also a series of texts shown Tuesday with Angela Polina, the fiancé, accusing Valva of wanting his 3 boys so he didn't have to pay child support to their mother. Her text said, "Of course, I love my kids." The text said from Valva, "Of course, I love my kids. I'm no deadbeat dad." And the Angela Polina countered, "You want a life with me? Then give them back." Prosecutors have said Thomas and his brother, who had autism, were forced to sleep in the frigid garage as temperatures plummeted to 19 degrees outside. The night he died, Thomas's body temperature was 76.1 degrees, 20 degrees lower than it should have been, prosecutors added. Last week, Dr. Michael Kaplan, who was the Suffolk County Chief Medical Examiner, said that on January 17, 2020, the day that Thomas died, they discussed the death, the deadly hypothermia that he said was the cause of Thomas's death. I'm trying to think of January 17th. Wow. Okay. During opening arguments, the Assistant District Attorney Laura Newcomb told the jury that Thomas had autism and incontinence issues, had an accident, and soiled himself. She said Valva began screaming, "Stop pooping. I should make you eat this." Then Valva took Thomas outside into the cold, hosed him down with icy water from the spigot. Thomas began falling headfirst onto the concrete. What did the father do? She said, pointing at Valva. Did he try to help him? No. He began yelling, "F you, moron, walk." And later he said of Thomas, "He's cold. Boo effing who?" Thomas died a few hours later of hypothermia. Looking back to September of 2017, when Valva and Polina moved to 11 Bittersweet Lane in Center Moriches, with both Thomas and his brother autistic and finding it difficult to communicate, the boys were punished if they didn't use their words, given no food. The boys were sent starving at school. They ate crumbs off the floor. They took half-eaten food from the trash. In a year, his brother had lost 20 pounds and Thomas gained only 1 pound. And although the boys had been toilet trained when they began living with Valva and Polina in 2017, by 2018 they were back in pull-ups due to their accidents, and they were forced to sleep on the floor on wee-wee pads meant for training dogs. When that didn't work, they were forced into the backyard alone in a tent while the rest of the family slept upstairs in warm beds. The boys were next exiled to the two-car garage with the unwanted items: a life-size Halloween werewolf, a Christmas tree, no heat, no insulation. By the time of Thomas's death, the boys were living out of the garage. There was also physical abuse. The boys were slapped, punched. Teachers reported red marks, scrapes, and bruises, and their soiled clothes reeked of urine. The jury will see proof, Newcomb said, because 11 Bittersweet Lane had a Nest video recording system that saved information to the cloud. You can see the abuse they endured at the hands of their father. And she added, there are texts. Newcomb read one that said the boys, if they refused to listen, would be put out in the snow. Or another, I will beat them until they bleed. Valva said, when I get home, I am going to effing handcuff him. Defense attorneys, however, maintained that Angela Polina, was the dominant person in the relationship, whose trigger was the boys' incontinence that sparked her anger. They said Valva was in financial trouble and had nowhere to go with his boys if he left the house where he lived with her. Witnesses, including teachers at school, have sobbed on the stand as they recounted seeing Thomas and his brother cold, with bruises and scratches, and eating crumbs from the floor. Terrible. It's unbelievable. I don't know. It's unbelievable that nothing was done. Then up to another nutcase. A British nurse who allegedly killed 7 babies between 2015 and 2016 allegedly continued to bother a victim's parents to the point that her supervisor intervened. Lucy Letby, accused of killing a newborn boy who was born prematurely at Countess of Chester Hospital in 2015. She was assigned to another baby who was located in a different room, but she was unexplainably in the newborn boy's intensive care unit when he suddenly declined and died. Letby was not assigned to that deceased baby, whose prosecutors believe had air forced into him via the stomach via the NG tube. I asked Lucy to focus on her designated baby because I was still concerned about him. However, Lucy went into the family room a few times, and I asked her to come out and leave that family with Melanie Taylor, the assigned nurse. A supervising nurse testified. The supervising nurse stated that before the newborn's death, there were no concerns about the baby's conditions, making Letby's presence in the room suspicious. She said his vitals were stable, but she admitted doing cross-examination that he was in a potentially fragile state. The supervising nurse also testified that she told Letby to tend to her assigned baby more than once. However, she could not recount how many times that occurred. The deceased baby in this case is believed to have been Letby's second victim. She is currently on trial for murdering 7 babies and trying to kill 10 more. She has been accused of injecting air into the victims' bloodstreams and giving them insulin. In one of the cases, the former nurse allegedly tried to kill a premature baby girl called Child 1 on 3 instances before she was successful. Afterwards, she reportedly sent a sympathy card to the victims' parents. The trial is still continuing. Yeah, she's really some piece of work. And then I guess wanted to see these people's anguish and see what she did, right? So she's so powerful. She's killing babies. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Let me see something here. I'm just trying to see if there was any other thing about a 32-year-old nurse is accused of a year-long spree targeting premature and sick newborns. And let's see. Child E's mother visited the neonatal unit where Leppi was working and did not realize her son was dying. The mother was told by the nurse that blood coming from his mouth was due to a tube. The court heard the nurse urge the mother of Child E to go back to the postnatal ward, which she did, but was so concerned that she phoned her husband. The jury was told that Ms. Leppi later made a record on the nursing notes, which was not true, about the time that the twins' mother came for a visit for her sons. The notes failed to mention that Child E was bleeding at 9 p.m. They mention a meeting between his mother and a doctor that neither of them remember. And this is a drawing from the court. Court heard Child E was bleeding so heavily that one of the doctors had never encountered such a large bleed in a small baby. Subsequent expert evidence established that this would have represented a combined loss of more than 25% of Child E's blood volume. The jury heard after Child E's death, his parents did not wish to have a post-mortem examination. The doctor on call did not deem one necessary, and the coroner agreed. As subsequent reviews have established, this was a big mistake. Leppi allegedly killed another 16 children who, for the purpose of anonymity, have been called Child A through Q. One boy, Child C, was killed just 6 days after murdering for the first time when she killed another baby boy, Child A. Just days later, she is accused of attacking his twin sister, Child B, while working in the neonatal unit at the Countess of Chester Hospital. Child C died because the air injected into his stomach made him unable to breathe, and he suffered cardiac arrest. The boy had been born prematurely at 30 weeks on June 10, 2015, weighing only 800 grams, but despite going into intensive care, his condition was good. 5 days later, on the night shift of June 14th, Leppi was supposed to be looking out for another more poorly baby in another room. But she was the only person in the room when Child C suddenly and unexpectedly collapsed. Prosecutor Mr. Johnson said again, taking a step back, you can now see there was a pattern emerging. Lucy Leppi was the only person working on the night shift when Child C died, who had also been working on either of the shifts when Child A died and his twin sister, Child B, collapsed. What we're going to see as we progress is that Lucy Leppi's method of attacking babies in the neonatal unit was beginning to develop. She had injected air into the bloodstream of the first twins, Child A and B, and varied her approach by injecting air into the Child C's stomach via the NG tube. The jury was shown a diagram to explain how inflating a baby's stomach with air or excess milk can stop a baby breathing. He said, if you're trying to murder a child in a neonatal unit, it's a fairly effective way of doing it. It really doesn't leave much of a trace. Leppi was interviewed in 2018. She denied she had anything to do with Child C other than during the resuscitation. Child C was pronounced dead just before 6 a.m. on the 14th of June, 2015. At the time, the consultant pathologist gave the cause of death as widespread hypoxic ischemic damage to the heart myocardium due to lung disease. Child C's vocal cords were swollen, something that prosecutors say is a recurring feature in this case. A second doctor said that although Child C had pneumonia at the time of his death, she believed that was not the cause of death. Her view was the only feasible mechanism for the excess air in the gut at the time of his collapse, which was deliberate induction of air via the nasogastric tube. This was a variation of refinement of a theme Lucy Leppi has started with Child A and B, said the prosecutor. And these are her mom and dad who were in the court for her. Leppi is also said to have taken a very unusual interest in the parents of the twins and searched for them repeatedly on Facebook, including on Christmas Day in 2015. Prosecutor Nick Johnson moved on to detailing the death of child D, who the Crown said was murdered by Lucy with an intentional injection of air into the bloodstream. The baby girl lost her color and became floppy in the father's arms shortly after she was delivered by cesarean section and had a risk factor because her mother's water broke early. She responded well to treatment in the Countess of Chester's Hospital's neonatal unit until she deteriorated and collapsed 3 times in the early hours of June 22, 2015. During the second collapse, the young baby was distressed and crying. The child's monitor alarm sounded on the third collapse, and she could not be revived. Lucy Letby sent many messages to friends in the wake of child D's death and the preceding deaths and collapses, in which she suggested they could all clearly be explained by natural causes. She later told police she could not explain why she searched on Facebook for child D's parents in the aftermath of her death. She said she was asked about another message in which she had referred to an element of fate being involved. Mr. Johnson told the jury, "We say tragically for child D, her bad luck or fate was the fact that Lucy Letby was working in the neonatal unit that night. The day after allegedly murdering child E, Lucy Letby allegedly used insulin for the first time to poison a baby." The court heard that by trying to murder the child E's twin brother and then child F. Child F was prescribed a total parenteral nutrition bag of fluids and parenteral nutrition bag of fluids, and later suffered an unexpected drop in his sugar levels and surge in heart rate. Checks on his insulin levels were carried out, which showed conclusive evidence someone had given child F insulin to poison him. The prosecutor said that no other baby on the neonatal unit had a prescription for insulin, so that child F could not have received the drug intended for some other child by negligence. So she had to really design this process here because no other baby on that unit was given insulin. Mr. Johnson said the prosecution alleged that Lucy Letby had injected insulin into the TPN bag before it was hung up to give it to the child. He added, "You know who was in the room, and you know from the records who hung that bag. It is not an accident." He told the jury that there was only one credible candidate for the person that poisoned, killed the baby, and it's Lucy Letby, the same person, he said, who was present at all the unexplained collapses and deaths at the Countess of Chester Hospital on the neonatal unit. She is said to have poisoned 2 victims with dangerous doses of insulin days after they were born. The methods allegedly used in other cases are expected to be detailed later on in the trial. Concerns were first raised when the number of deaths at the hospital closely restricted neonatal wards suddenly doubled in 1 year. A criminal investigation was launched after a slew of independent investigators failed to find an explanation. The doctors noticed that these deaths and collapses had one common denominator, and that was the presence of Lucy Letby as a neonatal nurse at the time. The 17 victims who are not named again are just referred by letters. Let's see. The prosecutor, Nick Johnson, said not only that when babies seriously collapsed, they did not respond to appropriate and timely resuscitation. Some of the babies who did not die collapsed dramatically, but then equally dramatically recovered. Their collapse and recovery defied the normal experience of treating doctors. Babies who had not been unstable at the time suddenly deteriorated. Sometimes a baby who had been sick but then been on the mend suddenly deteriorated for no reason. So yeah, that is still going on. It's horrendous. Horrendous. Can't even believe parents went through all that to have those. That so many had twins and they were probably under infertility treatments, and she just kills them just to the sake of killing them. Okay, Debbie Collier. We have a little news on Debbie Collier about her son. Her son is not too happy with the sheriff's office in their town. And he says that the Habersham County Sheriff's Office laughed and snickered at his concerns over his mother's unsolved death and his family's safety. On Monday, Debbie Collier's son, Jeffrey Bearden, said that the Habersham County Sheriff, Joey Terrell, dismissed his concerns about his mother's case during a phone call that he had with him last month. "I want him to resign, absolutely," said Jeffrey. "He just dismissed my concerns and laughed at me. I would not be the man I am today without my mother, and I can't let another victim's family go through what I went through on the phone with him." Collier, 59, was found deceased on September 11th, the day after she vanished from her Athens home. Police initially said foul play was involved, but so far no suspects have been named or arrested. Jeffrey Bearden said that he was concerned about leaks in the case that somehow made it to the media, including the possibility that Debbie's death may not be a homicide. Law enforcement sources said that evidence at the scene suggests that her death could have been accidental or suicidal, though investigators previously stated there was no indication that she took her own life. Jeffrey Bearden said that he contacted Terrell to get an update on whether someone from the sheriff's department leaked information and also to share his fears about his family's safety. Terrell reportedly told Bearden that he had no knowledge of any leaks and that the people have the right to free speech. Bearden said as he continued to tell his concerns to Terrell, the sheriff snickered and dismissed him. "I had to ask him to stop. I told him that I felt like it was disrespectful to laugh at my circumstance. And when I began to push further about the leaks, he said, I am trying not to hang up on you." And then he started laughing again, and that's when I ultimately hung up on him. Spokesperson for the Habersham County Sheriff's Office responded to the interview that Jeffrey gave and said that the department is certainly sympathetic to emotional tension that the extended period of time to investigate such a complex and unique case causes a family that's seeking answers. "We can assure you that Sheriff Terrell, as well as others involved of the Sheriff's Office, have nothing but respect and understanding towards the family, and any misunderstandings regarding discussions related to this case are nothing more than just that, a misunderstanding. However, at the same time, it is incumbent on us to exhaust every theory of what happened and to derive at a finding that is based on facts and evidence rather than speculation and rumor. As stated several times in the past, the scene involved in this case resulted in more questions than answers. As soon as all requested information has been recovered, analyzed, and evaluated, the Sheriff's Office will provide a complete statement regarding the findings in this investigation." Now, Debbie Collier's daughter, Amanda Bearden, contacted police on September 10th after she received a Venmo payment from Debbie Collier for $2,385. There was a cryptic message attached to that Venmo payment that said, "They are not going to let me go. Love you. There is a key to the house in the blue flower pot by the door." Police said it was about 3:15 p.m. on September 10th when Debbie Collier sent the Venmo payment to Amanda Bearden, who reportedly waited several hours before contacting police and said that Debbie Collier, her mother, left everything at home aside from her ID and debit card, which contradicts what's seen on security footage at the Family Dollar store that was the last known sighting of Debbie Collier. Collier's husband, Stephen Collier, made the 911 call and said that Amanda Bearden, the stepdaughter, told him that she found her mother's purse at home. And he said, and I quote, "Came home, my wife wasn't home. Her driver's license still in there. The rental car is gone, and her daughter's here." Stephen Collier, the first person to make the report, made it on September 10th at 6 p.m. "We're kind of worried about what's happening and where she's at. I was wondering if you could send someone over here." According to her daughter, she went up and her purse is still there with her driver's license. The only thing is her phone is gone, and she sent her daughter a text about 2 hours ago saying they won't let me go. Whatever that means, we don't know. "I thought she was out shopping for food." Her daughter came over with this strange message and then went upstairs to the bedroom and found out that her driver's license and credit card is still here. So that doesn't sound like she's leaving the house to go shopping like I thought she was. Collier was seen on footage walking into a Clayton Georgia Family Dollar store on September 10th at 2:55 p.m., and she was carrying a large black purse, vehicle keys, and wearing a UGA football jersey. Police say she was on the security footage buying in part a lighter, a tarp, and a bag. On September 11th, police tracked her rental vehicle to a wooded area about 60 miles from the family's home. Police say the vicinity of the vehicle scoured the vicinity of the vehicle and found her body and a burned blue tarp in a nearby ravine. She was naked, charred, and deceased. Police said that although the case is being treated as a homicide, it's unclear how she died. At the time, there's no evidence to suggest or support that this incident was related to a kidnapping, Habersham County Police said in a previous statement. So far, no arrests have been made and no one has been named a suspect. So, yes, very, very odd case. Now, on Halloween, the Waukesha parade killer Darrell Brooks was in court before. The scheduling for the sentence, that was for the scheduling of the sentencing, which has been scheduled for November 15th. Let me put his picture up here so we can just talk about this. Darrell Brooks was in court on Halloween afternoon to find out when his sentencing hearing will take place. He was convicted on all 76 charges related to the Waukesha Christmas parade attack last November. Those charges included 6 counts of first-degree intentional homicide. Now, the judge, who's Jennifer Dorough, started off by saying that she will unseal search warrants in the parade investigation Tuesday morning. So today they were unsealed. We'll see what we can find there. Brooks said he was placed on suicide protocol immediately after the verdict. Brooks was on suicide protocol. He hadn't received any documents related to the unsealing of the search warrants. The very second that I left your courtroom Wednesday, Your Honor, I was placed on suicide watch, he said. I was told that it was per jail administration, that it was policy. It was nothing I could do about it. The judge then addressed comments made by Brooks as jurors walked in before the verdicts were read regarding shocks on Brooks' ankles. Photos of restraints will be part of court record, but under seal due to security concerns. She told Brooks he did not have shock devices on his ankles. Brooks disagreed. He said he's familiar with shock devices because of his experience with them in the Milwaukee County Court. I was limited by shock device, that if I moved the wrong way, I could have got shot with all these volts. He said the public should know and the jury should have known this. The jury had Brooks removed from the courtroom. The judge had Brooks removed from the courtroom less than 15 minutes into the hearing because he was again being disruptive. The prosecution told the court that it has 36 people who want to have a statement at sentencing or would like to read it themselves. 5 to 10 other people would like to submit written statements. The prosecutor said the state would speak for 30 to 45 minutes, so she expects her side would take 4 to 4.5 hours at the sentencing. Prosecutors said the people they spoke with would like to have sentencing before November 21st, which is the anniversary of the Christmas parade. Brooks brought up that he has other legal matters in Milwaukee. He's expected to appear in court in there on November 17th. Brooks estimated that 20 or more people would speak on his behalf, but said he hasn't spoken to everyone. The judge said her calendar is incredibly full with trials every week through December 19th. Brooks asked for more time to prepare, but the judge says she doesn't want to go into January, so she scheduled the sentencing for November 15th and 16th. The judge says people can testify over Zoom if they can't be at the hearing. She also said the names of the people who will testify must be given to the court by November 11th, along with any other statements that will be read. The maximum sentence is 6 consecutive life sentences plus 859 years in confinement. Let's see if, hold on 1 second. Newly unsealed search warrants give a glimpse into the minutes after the Waukesha Christmas parade tragedy that left 6 dead and dozens injured. There were 4 search warrants, and they indicate a quick-paced investigation with immediate help from the community. And I quote, "We arrested Daryl Brooks within a half an hour," and that's because the people of the town have met, you have met Abel Lascano that saw the car, recognized it from the parade. He ran back a half a mile to tell police, "Hey, I saw the car." And then that led to the Waukesha detective Tom Casey telling the news reporter Hillary Mintz that the search warrants said an officer then escorted Lascano in the police squad car, and Lascano directed them to the exact location where he rented a red Ford. Once in custody, the search warrant said Brooks did not have a cell phone on him, but he did possess a motor vehicle key, which was later found to be the correct ignition key to the damaged red Ford. By the next day, the search warrants indicated that police had a witness photo which showed Brooks in the driver's seat of the red Ford Escape. Brooks was convicted Thursday on 76 charges related to that massacre, and a judge set his sentencing for November 15th and 16th. So, yeah, let's see here. All right, so let's see. Let's see something else here. Okay, I'll go back to that. Go back. So let's see what happened. There was a shooting at a Halloween party attended by high school age kids. That's not good. 8 people were shot, 1 fatally Monday night at an invitation-only Halloween party attended by many high school age children. That was in Kansas City, Kansas. The police chief, Carla Oakman, said a group of uninvited people arrived at the home and they were asked to leave. But they opened fire as they left, and that was just after 9 p.m. This is very unfortunate, said Oakman. The stuff in this community has to stop. There's far too many guns out there. This was a party with high school students. Like I said, everyone has guns now. We need to be smarter than this. Investigators say at least 2 of the 7 wounded were in critical condition. No arrests have been made. Oakman said there were 70 to 100 people at the party. It's disturbing. It's unacceptable. The number of people who are out here with guns, regardless of what situation is, we need to figure out how to manage our anger. Shooting people, taking the lives of people is not the answer. I mean, it's just ridiculous. We need to figure out how to resolve conflict in a peaceful way. Investigators have not provided any further information about the victims. Then we have a 63-year-old Tennessee man arrested last week for the R of a missing teen, has now been charged with the girl's murder. Charles Chuck Carter, 63, was arrested on a charge of statutory R last Wednesday, the same day that 15-year-old Olivia Darrell Taylor's parents reported her missing. Taylor's body was found on Thursday in a rural wooded area by employees of the Putnam County Road Department, and Carter was named a suspect in her death. On Monday, he was charged with second-degree murder and abuse of a corpse. Police said that Carter admitted giving Taylor illegal narcotics, which caused her death. Carter's initial $50,000 bond has been revoked, and he's due in court tomorrow. Unbelievable. Beautiful girl. So a New York man shot and killed his estranged wife in front of her 3 children just a day after he was released from jail on assault charges. He was indicted last month for her murder. Adam Benefield, 45, pled not guilty to multiple charges at his arraignment on October 21st and was ordered held without bail. Chautauqua police arrested Benefield after they responded to the residence on September 28th to reports that Benefield was assaulting 40-year-old Kiara Benefield. Adam had locked himself in a bathroom before police arrived. Officers took him to the hospital for an evaluation, and then they sought a warrant for harassment against him and told his wife to contact him if they returned. A day later, police learned that Kiara had posted a video of the assault on Facebook, but they did not receive the footage until October 2nd. They upgraded the charges to misdemeanor assault against Adam, who turned himself in on October 4th. A judge released him that same day because the misdemeanor charge he faced did not allow bail. The judge did issue an order of protection. The following day, as Kiara Benefield prepared to take her children to school, Adam rammed his car into hers, got out, and shot her dead with a shotgun. Kiara's 9 and 5-year-old daughters were nearby, and the couple's 6-month-old son was in the back seat. Benefield has been fled the scene and was the subject of a week-long manhunt until he was located on October 12th. The district attorney, John Flynn, said after the arraignment that investigators have not recovered the shotgun used in the murder, but they had recovered the vehicle that he used. He provided no further investigation. After the Benefield previous charges, which allowed his release without bail, Flynn said there was zero evidence and would have let prosecutors charge him with something that would have kept him in jail. The injuries and the evidence did not sustain higher charges. Flynn has frequently urged that the state bail laws allow judges to consider a suspect's dangerousness when assessing bail, and he reported that call after the arraignment. Flynn also said that the 9-year-old girl is now with her biological father, and the 2 younger children are with their grandparents. Wow, that's so sad. Okay, now let's look at some stuff about Richard Allen. We talked about the press conference yesterday, and there not being a lot of information at all. We talked about him hiding in plain sight, people saying they didn't suspect him. We had bar owners that interacted with him saying that he was even talking about what happened to the girls. Okay, it's crazy.
I did see some people wonder why they just said 2 charges of murder, and I wondered. So I looked it up this morning, and apparently in Indiana, they don't have, now someone correct me if I'm wrong, 1st, 2nd, and 3rd degree murder. Murder is just a murder charge. Also, if you are involved or an accomplice, that is just called murder too. So I saw some people ask that,
Okay.
and I wondered. So I looked it up this morning and read that that was the situation in Indiana
Oh,
as
okay.
far as murder charges go.
So it's just murder. Okay. All right. Thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. The Indiana bar owner said that he revealed that the suspect, Richard Allen, was a patron at his tavern, and he was often sit inches away from him. And he was inches away from this police sketch of the wanted killer, too, when he would sit there at the bar. Bob Matlock, the owner of the now shuttered JC's Bar and Grill, said that Richard Matthew Allen and his wife were regular customers who would often talk about the 2017 murders of 14-year-old Libby Liberty German and 13-year-old Abigail Abby Williams. He would come in, and we would always talk about the girls and everything, Matlock said. We would carry on conversations about it. He would say, you know, it's such a tragedy, and we'd say we felt sorry for the families and all that.
Also, in regards to the arrest and, you know, the affidavits being sealed,
Right.
there can be, I read about that today too. Apparently there can be a variety of reasons. If it becomes like a federal thing where they're investigating, you know, at a federal level, possible other situations in other states, they can seal those records for those reasons. It can be a problem at some stage, apparently, because if they don't release the records, his defense can say that it's not, you know, that it's interruptive in it being a fair kind of process. So, you know, so anyway, I read about that today.
Okay. Thanks for that. Yeah. Good news.
Yeah.
Let's see. It's then the pub owner went on to say the Allens were members of JC's Bar Pool League, and they were active in the community. He stressed that there was never any indication that Richard Allen, known to his friends as Rick, would be accused of a double murder. It's very interesting, right? I just couldn't believe it when they said they arrested him, said Matlock. I said, well, that can't be the Rick we know, and then we come to find out it was. There wouldn't have been any inkling to anyone that knew him that would expect him to do something like that. Let's see. And the former bar owner discussed that sketch that was hanging on the wall, saying that he did not believe that sketch bore any resemblance to Richard Allen, Ricky Allen. He also did not think the man's voice saying the words down the hill in a grainy video that was recovered from Libby German's phone sounded anything like Richard Allen's. He also described Allen as quiet and friendly. He said his sweet wife, Kathy, works, they're saying as a veterinarian, but I remember seeing it was a veterinarian's, I think she was the receptionist in the veterinarian's office. Libby's grandmother, Becky Patty, told reporters Monday that Allen had once processed photos for their family at CVS, but he didn't charge them. Betty Cummings, a customer at the CVS where Allen worked, said that she would occasionally see him while having lunch with friends at a nearby McDonald's. She described him as calm and mild-mannered. He just blended right in, she said. You wouldn't even suspect the guy. CVS issued a statement in the wake of Allen's arrest saying the company is shocked and saddened to learn that one of the store employees was arrested as a suspect in these crimes. We stand ready to cooperate with the police investigation in any way we can. We remain devastated by the murders, and our hearts go out to the German and Williams family. And during his initial court appearance on Friday, Richard Allen pled not guilty to the murder counts, and he was ordered held without bond. State Police Superintendent Doug Carter said the probe is far from complete and urged members of the community to continue to come forward with information.
I think that maybe some people did not kind of your mind. I think your mind is looking for someone that maybe doesn't have a family, doesn't work, has a criminal history, and perhaps I mean people saw him every day, and he seemed so normal. I think that people don't connect the dots somehow visually. You would think people would be able to kind of think, oh, maybe that's him, from the little bit of the video.
Right,
or the
right.
few frames that we saw. But I think in your mind, you're expecting, I don't know if it's our conditioning, you're expecting to see someone who appears not like that, like a totally normal person somehow.
Right. Yeah. I mean,
And I think it can kind of give you tunnel vision on kind of opening your mind to the fact that it can be this person who goes to work every day and has a wife for 30 years, and because I can't figure out in a place of a population of 8,000 or whatever it is that it just didn't click with anybody really, or multiple people, many people. But I'm just thinking that's a possibility that you're kind of expecting someone kind of out of the norm, kind of, to do something like that.
Right.
And I'm sure that they will be delving into everything, including his past, where he has been, and has people gone missing or things happened in areas that he's traveled to on different hiking trails, etc. So I'm sure all that's being looked into. That's why I can't see. I think there'll be a postponement. I mean, court proceedings will go ahead, but not as quickly maybe as we think, because, there's a lot to investigate on this.
Yeah. So, well, hiding in plain sight, it's like BTK, but not even his Dennis Rader at BTK, his own children suspected him. That it was at worst that he was like this moral Christian, like very strict. He had an angry streak, but he did, go to church. He actually waved to one of the women he killed, like every morning, to her as he went to church, and then he ended up the one, she was his 8th victim that he tied up and choked to death. So yeah, it's he was right there, and people didn't put him, suspect him. That he did have, I mean, he had a really sordid past, though, with all the pictures that he took, and he really led a double life. We don't know what, it's like we discussed here, how plausible is it that he just killed 2 girls and then never killed before and never killed after, and didn't have
staged and possibly took a souvenir or souvenirs and all of those things. It left signatures. I mean, it doesn't seem feasible to me that it's a first. I mean, it's possible. Anything's possible at this point.
I mean, we were going down a rabbit hole last night trying to look at, girls that had unsolved murders in Indiana, and then we started to look in other state lands, because he's always hiking. So was he going on different hikes and doing this? How do you just start with killing 2 girls? That's a huge undertaking in the middle of the day, right? In a place where people are, to do something like that, and then just to go on with life as usual before and after. And come on, there's something's missing
in his past. Yeah,
something's missing.
And I think usually the way it goes now, it seems that their crimes become more and more brazen as they become more. They don't get caught. They become more and more arrogant and confident about their evil doings, and it just escalates in time. So, and at 40, I think he was around 44 when this happened, possibly 45.
Right,
I haven't
yeah.
figured it out. I mean, this happened on February 13th, 2017. He's 50 now, but
Right.
I don't remember his birth date. So, yeah, it doesn't seem like a first time thing.
Right.
And I mean, very risky. Anybody at any time, there were people in the area could have gone down to that creek too, or been at a vantage point where they saw what was happening. Very brazen.
Yeah.
Very brazen.
Yeah, definitely. I just don't. Yeah, it's just infuriating. And then, like, when this happened, his wife was, like, where were you? Like, people like, she doesn't notice the jacket is very similar, or that he looks similar to the bridge guy, and that it may be like people have noticed in most of her videos, he looked down, or he didn't really want to talk after this, and then she had that huge chunk missing. We don't know when she deleted that whole chunk of 2017 and why. Was he wearing that jacket in other pictures? What was the deal with that? Why was that huge chunk of pictures? Now her Facebook is deleted.
In that photo of him in the car, and I think I saw maybe another one. It could have possibly been that jacket. I mean, it's not clear enough to see for sure or anything, and you wouldn't know for sure. But it did look very similar in a couple of photos.
Yes.
That blue jacket.
Yeah, the one in the car when he was writing something, and the wife came up and surprised him.
And also, now, I don't know about this, and it's not super important, I don't think, but some people had reported that there was a photo of him in the mugshot where they had where they have the height chart next to them. And some people had said, that it indicated he was 5'4". If you look at that chart, to me, it looks like he is maybe 5'7", according to that chart. Maybe those are 2-inch increments on the mugshot chart, not 1-inch increments. So that was another thing. Not that it really matters at this point how tall he was, but I've heard people say that, he was quite short for a man.
Right.
So I heard that brought up too, but I'm thinking now maybe they didn't, I don't know. That's just another little thing that.
Yeah, Katz, I see that, but I don't know where that's from and not what that's confirmed. Someone said that apparently he was. You hear anything about him stealing tools out of a neighbor's garage and was arrested? I didn't hear that. I don't know where that's from. Is that from like a Reddit thread or something? They're saying that was a felony arrest, and apparently they took his DNA, so boom, it flashed up as a match to Abby and Libby. I cannot confirm this 100%, but that is what someone close to the case has stated. So I don't know. I don't know where that came from. I have no idea. Couch just sent that to me. The person, I don't know, whoever wrote that in some forum. So you take that with a grain of salt. I have no idea where that came from. Didn't hear it anywhere else. Let me see.
I did hear, too, apparently a reliable source. I'll leave it at that. So allegedly, a neighbor of his and his wife's, I don't know who else at the time, if anyone was living in that home, watched the police. They were there for 12 hours, going through the home. They did a bit of looking in the backyard. And the neighbor looked with binoculars to see what was being taken out of the home. They did take things out. Now, this is allegedly, according to the neighbor who observed all this happening, that what they removed from the home was not in evidence bags. They saw some kind of blue or some kind of fabric that they removed. They saw some books, not thick books, thinner books, and one other thing that they saw, but apparently they were there for 12 hours, and apparently him and his wife kind of sat in their van or whatever, because I think they took that truck. I think they pretty much stayed there the whole time, and apparently now the house is all closed up. There is no one there. Sure, she couldn't be staying there at this point. Probably not safe, maybe, or something, you know? So, yeah, apparently, allegedly, according to the neighbors didn't know what was happening. Allegedly, they called the police department and said, we see all this going on for hours at our neighbor's home, and what is going on. And they were told that just keep an eye on your wife and daughters and children, kind of thing. And they were quite alarmed. And then 2 weeks, I think it was, until his arrest. It was a week or two. And then these neighbors knew Abby and Libby's families, and they had heard there'd been an arrest, and they called them, and then they connected the dots as to what they had witnessed at their neighbor's house. So, so that was kind of that part of it,
Right.
allegedly, by a neighbor.
Yeah, absolutely. And Mary Warren says sometimes you can be too close to the person to catch things. Yeah, and I guess you can also be in denial too and not even suspect that, maybe. I don't know, but there's got to be something more. You don't just kill two girls. And it's not like something just happened, it got out of hand, this is, I don't know, there's something so, I wish she hadn't taken down her Facebook and had left it there to see where they were traveling, because they were going on a lot of hikes together, the husband and wife.
They were, well, I'm sure the police have all.
Oh yeah,
that.
yeah, I know. I'm just saying, I wonder
Yeah.
like how far they traveled for these hikes, and then, if there were other unsolved.
Yeah, I wonder
cases.
too. I definitely, because I've been, I try to stay away from too much alleged things, and, you can't help but try to guess some stuff. But
Yeah.
I try to just get the factual stuff. If I say anything about it and the authorities haven't said it, of course it's all alleged. But the things that I just said now is fairly, it's, I think it's believable what I heard, the source I heard it from. So,
Yeah.
that's all I can say on it. But I have followed it since the beginning, and it's just one of those cases. There's certain ones that just catch your attention for whatever particular reason. This happened to be one that, and I had kind of given up because authorities didn't say anything for
Right. Yeah. And it seemed like
years.
Mm-hmm.
And then you just kind of think, oh well, authorities haven't said anything for so long. Maybe the case will go cold. I hope not.
Right. Yeah.
When those transcripts from Keegan Klein, or Kagan, some people say, came out, I thought, oh, there's a glimmer. And I went through those transcripts a couple of times at least, and just some of the things that he said, I thought, oh no, I don't think this is completely cold, this case anymore. And it re-sparked my interest in the case again, as I'm sure it did with many people who had followed it. So anyway, I did find it interesting that they don't have the first, second, and third degree murder in Indiana. I never knew that. So, it's a learning process for me too. I mean, each law has their different states. I mean, each state has its different laws. I said that backwards. So, Yeah, I wasn't even aware that any state would have it that way.
Yeah. I'm just trying to see here. I'm still trying to go. The Ensby, who's that? CBS. Just trying to see if there's anything else here. A.J. Robinson, whose early impressions of Alan were benign. Robinson met Alan briefly for the first time at Matlock's pool bar. They had a short conversation where Robinson told Alan about how he was legally blind. Anytime Robinson went to CVS thereafter, he said Alan would come over to him and ask him if he needed help. He was always nice, Robinson said. You'd never think in a million years residents around town marvel at what a national and international story has become of their community with mixed feelings. It hits home in this town. It really hits home, Brower said. People in this town want answers.
Also, I saw a photo of the inside of the pharmacy that he worked at. There were those composite drawing, wanted kind of posters in where he works. I mean, he saw them every day. So did it's just so creepy. And I don't know when the photo of the daughter was taken on the Monon Bridge, but that was creepy too, even if that's just an old photo, but I don't know when. Oh, what?
She posted it in 2018, but I think it was taken before that.
Well, could it have been taken in 2017?
It could have been, and it could have been when she took the stuff down. She just wanted to repost that. Who knows?
I was wondering, being as that was removed that year, and then subsequently in 2018, that was maybe a repost. I was wondering, did he have control over her Facebook? Was it him putting that photo, that repost in of the daughter? With a sick mind. Did he remove the 2017? He's probably very controlling. He probably had asked, was able to go and use her Facebook, even though it was under her name. I mean, maybe it was him removing the 2017 post. Maybe it was he that put in the, in the photo of the daughter at the bridge in 2018. It could have been.
Right, yeah. Anything could have been.
He could have easily had access to her Facebook account very easily. So not necessarily was it the wife, so, wow. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Kevin says he doesn't think he did it alone. Yeah, I don't know. Just it seems there's something so much more, and we just don't know.
Well, I guess in time we'll find out.
I guess so.
We're just going to have to be very patient. They've just got so much, and think they would be flooded. The authorities would be flooded because how many people knew him in that town, and with information, and just everything would be coming in now too.
Yeah, absolutely.
More people saying things. They've got so much to go through, and so much of his past and just everything. It's a lot for the prosecution and the defense, for both sides. It'd be a lot to go through.
Definitely. Let's see. What else are you guys saying? Anybody want to call in? Call in. Hi, Catherine Summers.
I'm talking too much.
No, it's good.
But you're not talking enough, Deborah. Both me and you're talking.
Maybe he had something to do with the children who were burned in a fire. I don't know, LMNW. Are those the ones, Kevin, did you ever find the names of those children you said you thought he might be linked to?
I looked too, Kevin, and I couldn't find anything. I gave up after about 20 minutes though, so I didn't really look that long for it.
Hello,
I couldn't
Rambling
find
Recruiter.
any.
How are you?
Hey, Rambling Recruiter.
Okay, let's see. Yeah, I don't know. Very odd. I wanted to see something.
Yeah. Oh, Kevin said that he'll keep looking, but he hasn't seen it yet either.
You haven't seen it? Okay. So this is open his house, right? So make this smaller. Okay, I'm assuming. We live 2.5 miles from the Mountain High Bridge Trail. No criminal history, besides 2 speeding tickets, one in Jasper County 2011 and another in Fulton County in 2005. Licensed pharmacy tech in the state of Indiana. His pharmacy license does not expire until June 30th, 2024. Employed by Delphi CVS.
Yeah, he had nothing, just the speeding. It just doesn't make sense. He just had nothing, unless he's just been doing the things and just has never been caught.
Yeah.
This can't just be out of the blue and you do all this. No, I don't.
I
see
know.
how that
I don't see it either. I don't understand.
You know, and those are the scariest ones. The ones that do just blend in and no one bats an eye at them. You know, they just don't ever, it never crosses their mind that their neighbor who's like allegedly the neighbor said they were very quiet. They would see him leave for work. They would see him come home, maybe sit on the driveway, have a couple of beers after work and some cigarettes. And they didn't really have any type of people over or parties, just very quiet, very low key, just to work every day.
Rubbity Bob says we can only surmise at least there's some movement, and the lead law enforcement seems happy, so that's exciting. Does anyone remember around the time of those? Oh, Kevin's asking about that. I don't know, Kevin. I don't remember.
Yeah.
No. Janae can't think of it. All she can think of is 2 or 3 kids in the same family drowning in a fast river.
And I'm thinking, the actual murders, maybe he did those on his own. But I think there's more people involved in this whole scenario, this whole reason that he was at that bridge and the whole thing,
Yep. Let's see.
I mean, I just don't see how it would be random in his first time if, I mean,
Right,
there's
it's
possibly
weird. Yeah, really weird.
blood and they were staged, and it's those things.
I mean, you go till you're 44, 45 years old, and all of a sudden you're doing
Hold
a
on, put my
double
phone on the
murder
charger, one
of
second.
two girls, in the middle of the day and doing all those weird souvenir and staging and
Mm-hmm.
signatures and, all of a sudden out of the blue, I don't think so.
Right. Yeah, I know. Just
And
put my
I
phone-
bet his wife and daughter are being questioned by authorities to the nth degree too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I would imagine, yeah. I mean, it's just everybody's probably thinking of their interactions with him, all the parents at schools, events and stuff.
At the pharmacy.
Yeah,
You
the
know.
pharmacy, yeah, but I mean, even the ones that might have known, had play dates over there with their daughters.
Yes. Oh, it's just,
That had long interactions, maybe we don't know what his daughters are on sports teams or something, did he coach any of the teams? What about all that? We don't know.
I mean, it would affect you for the rest of your life in that you would never be able to trust anybody, even the most, you wouldn't be able to after that. You'd think, my gosh, I let my daughter or my child or whoever, or I had some association with him, and this is the person that he really was. You
Right.
just would never be able, it would shake you for the rest of your life, the
Mhm.
way that you think it would. Even if you just had an acquaintance with him casually.
Mhm.
I know for myself, it would affect me forever.
Yep. Yep, certainly. I'll do that.
But I guess, even like Ted Bundy and other ones fairly,
Yeah.
just kind of seemed normal to
Yeah,
other
but
people.
Ted Bundy had a string of things. That's what I'm saying. It's so strange that he would have just, like this would be it.
Yes, I know. It probably isn't in my mind.
I agree. Probably is not. It probably is not. And I think a lot more is going to come out about this. And
I do too.
There's definitely more involved in a lot that we don't know. Just like Property Bob said, I guess we'll just have to wait. The information's released. It's going to be slow,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
but at least no.
They're going to have to just keep a lot close to the vest and everything, because to do anything that would jeopardize this at this point, they just have to really be careful.
Yeah.
Well, I understand why the wife would delete her entire. I didn't have nothing. She was an active poster on Facebook.
Well, yeah, but they were being harassed. The son-in-law was being harassed, Nicole. They were going around and harassing the people. So,
What?
But before, what I said before was that, as far as what was posted and what was removed prior to this, he may have had control over that. I mean, it's quite feasible that he would have control over and be able to access her Facebook account.
Yeah. I wonder if she knew, though. I mean, I don't know. It'll come out, I guess.
yep. I
Right.
will.
Honey, want a spoon of
Oh,
honey?
just 1 second, Jimmy. 1 second. What?
Spoon of honey?
No, thank you.
It's just very eerie, the photo of the daughter on the fridge and him with, those posters of the composite drawings were everywhere, and he's just right there, standing right in front of them. It's just it's so brazen. It just really, I guess he just thought, well, look, I'm right here next to that. Nobody is putting two and two together. Nobody ever will. I'm too smart for them. And I just get away with these things I do because maybe he has. Maybe he got to a point where he thought I'm invincible on this. Well, they must have some good evidence against him. They must.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sorry.
They never really said too much about the DNA, of course, at the scene. Very
No,
vague.
they never even gave the cause of death, right? Just that it's a lot of blood.
That's what I heard too, and yeah.
Marianne Frontine says the police found something in their fire pit. Was that confirmed or not confirmed? Nothing was confirmed.
Nothing was confirmed.
No.
No.
There is a lot of talk, yes. Absolutely.
There will be, because we're only getting these little snippets because they have to protect this case, and this, you're gonna hear a lot of things, so that's how it's gonna be for sure. I think our minds just try to figure it out, but we just don't know enough yet to be figuring anything out. So we just kind of have these hypothetical scenarios of different things, but you kind of know what makes sense. And it does make sense that this is not his first time around doing something so horrible,
Mm-hmm.
Maybe to this degree, maybe this is the worst one yet. Because I think sometimes they kind of build up to their dastardly deeds, and they
Right, and that's why whoever compared him to Ted Bundy, I understand the comparison and why, because he was so confident in himself. Even his buddies, remember, the sketch looked like you. His name is Ted. Is it you, Ted? And they all laugh. We know that as a fact with the Ted Bundy case, and it could be the same situation. This guy, he was
even the authorities, didn't he crawl out of a library window after he was arrested and escaped?
Yeah, well,
Even they
yeah,
were fooled to trust him.
Right.
That
he escaped, and he went on the run again. Yep.
did twice. Went once in the jail through a tiny hole. He lost enough weight to get up through that upper tile or that crawl space up there, and he got out that way the second time.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's right.
Yeah, you would think so. Janae had to be covered in blood, right? Yeah.
He had to be.
Absolutely, yeah. And who knows what kind of excuse he gave. Maybe, his wife said, where's your jacket? What happened to your jacket? What are you going to say? You wouldn't believe it. I would, on a hike, let's say. Did he say he even went up there? Where did she think he was? Why wouldn't she be with him? They seem to go all the time together. I don't know. What kind of excuse would you give? Where's your jacket? Where's your jacket?
Yeah. Well, maybe it wasn't a situation where she
took it
asked
off and I left it there and it's gone. And
maybe she didn't ask questions about his. Maybe she wasn't one to ask him a lot of questions about what he's doing. You don't know the relationship, do you? He might have been very controlling, and she might have kept her mouth shut and didn't question him on things.
I don't know. Opportunity was never right to do it again.
And I just, and who knows what they found in that river, if they found anything in the Wabash. Did they find something in there?
I don't know.
You just don't know. You just don't know the evidence that they have at all or anything. So I would think they have some very concrete, links with him in this. I really do.
He may have had a weapon. I mean, they said there was a lot of blood. Now, this was confirmed by the police. So, I mean, could it be a knife, possibly?
Yeah, so something, and to control them,
Yeah.
it may be a gun, I'm
Maybe.
thinking too.
Right.
Because nobody heard any gunfire, and there were people in the area, and you would think it would echo maybe down in that creek bed down there. You would think someone would have heard it. May not have associated, and he was a hunter apparently. He had a hunter's license.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. I saw that when I saw his criminal record, that it said his license had a list of that he was licensed. So a licensed hunter.
Mm-hmm.
So that's another thing on the table there.
Janae is saying, case, are you talking about Elizabeth J. Collins and Lyric Cook double homicide? They went missing from Myers Lake on July 13th, 2012. In Evansdale, Iowa, in Black Hawk County, the bodies were found in Seven Bridges Wildlife Park on December 5th, 2012. Date of death, July 13th, 2012. Is that what you're talking about, Janae? It says Lyric R. Cook, Morrissey 10, and her cousin Elizabeth Collins were reported missing by the Evansdale Police Department in Evansdale, Iowa, Friday, July 13th, 2012. That was also a 13. Now, is that something that's just weird, or just a weird coinkydink there? Let me see here. This is something. Let's see. Says that the girls were seen about 12:23 p.m. on July 13th on Broen Boulevard in Evansdale, and then spotted between 12:30 and 1 on Gilbert Drive, not far from Myers Lake, a popular fishing and recreation area in northeastern Iowa, a city of about 4,700 residents. Their bikes and Elizabeth's purse were later found on a trail on the southeast corner of Myers Lake about 4 p.m. the same day the girls went missing, but there were no clues as to their whereabouts. The girls' grandmother, Wilma Cook, told the press that she last saw the girls riding their bikes near downtown Evansdale about 12:15, July 13th. On Wednesday, December 5th, 2012, hunters came across two deceased bodies in the Seven Bridges Wildlife Park near Redland in Bremer County, a wildlife area about 25 miles from where the girls were last seen. They contacted law enforcement officials at 12:45 p.m. on Thursday, December 6th. Chief Deputy Rick Aben with the Black Hawk County Sheriff's Office held a press conference to announce that officials were confident the bodies were those of Lyric and Elizabeth. They said that no other missing persons cases, there were no other, and the remains found were of a similar stature. The bodies were transported to the state medical examiner's office for positive identification. On Monday afternoon, December 10th, 2012, the Iowa State Medical Examiner's Office confirmed the identity of the bodies as Lyric Cook and Elizabeth Collins. The Chief Kent Smock of the Evansville Police Department received confirmation about their identities and notified the families. Oh gosh, no other information was released, according to Cedar Rapids Gazette article published in July of 2012. Dan Morrissey, 36, was scheduled to appear Friday in Black Hawk Court in Waterloo for a pre-trial conference covering 4 separate cases, including one in which he was charged with assaulting his estranged wife, Misty Morrissey, the mother of 10-year-old Lyric Cook. Other cases against Dan Morrissey charge him with possessing, dealing, and making methamphetamine, and a range of other drug charges that could lock him up for decades if he's convicted. Let's see. Investigators were closely scrutinizing Dan and Misty Morrissey and had subjected them both to multiple polygraph tests. At the same time, investigators said Dan and Misty were not considered suspects in the girls' disappearance and were looking into their backgrounds and that of their associates only, so far as to discount any possible leads. Community members held a candlelight vigil. Okay, then we have, what else happened? Trail of Angels. On February 6th, 2013, officials announced the trail and park at Myers Lake would be renamed to honor their memory. New tip, 6 months after Lyric and Elizabeth were found, they had 3 separate witnesses say they saw a white, older model, full-size SUV type vehicle similar to a Chevy Suburban or a Ford Bronco parked on Arbutus Avenue on July 13th. The street meets up with the bike trail where the girls' bikes were found. 2 witnesses say they saw a white SUV parked between 2 bike trail signs. All 3 witnesses said they saw the SUV there between 11:30 and 12:30. And let's see, witnesses described the vehicle as large, clunky white SUV, old-style boxy Suburban. 2 of the witnesses came forward with that information when canvassing the third, let's see, and they are confident they had Michael Klunder is no longer a person of interest. And let's see. So they don't have any idea of a suspect, huh? So they can't even. Interesting. I don't know how far that is from there.
Well, Janae says that rumors have it it's to do something with drugs.
Yeah,
I'm
well, that's
not
what it says.
familiar with that at all. I have no idea.
That's what it says. It says
Yeah.
there were drugs, but I don't know.
You know, and for me, I mean, how Richard Allen or Ricky or whatever names he went by, you know, things, the events leading up to his arrest, the dominoes seem to fall after the Keegan Klein transcripts were accidentally released to the public for a short period of time. That's what it looks like to me. That's why my mind makes me think there's a connection there. Because that happened, then they transported him from Florida, you know, to Indiana for whatever questioning or whatever they happened there. They borrowed him for a while. Then, you know, they searched that Wabash River. And then the next thing that happens is this Richard Allen getting arrested. You know, and this was, you know, all happening within a fairly short period of time where you heard nothing for a long time. So it appears to me at this point that there's some connections there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What's this? Oh, let's see.
Either that or it's one heck of a coincidence, all of this.
Okay, so there was a news team that discussed that 194-page interview transcript with a retired FBI agent. The transcript goes word by word through an interview with Keegan Klein, an Indiana State Police detective and a sheriff's deputy. So what did they say? That's the same account. State police are investigating Abby and Libby's murders. Let's see what he says. The retired FBI special agent in charge, Michael Tabman, said he isn't sure this interview will do much for the investigation. It's good to know when someone is lying, but in this case, it didn't seem to have any impact on the suspect. And honestly, I don't know where you go from here in terms of an interview, in that you've already kind of shown your hand unless you really do develop some new evidence. Little of both. This okay, so you saw the transcript. When you read the transcript, did you think that they were interviewing a suspect, or did you think they were just fishing? FBI agent says little of both. The guy clearly is a suspect no matter what. The fact that he was communicating with this victim under illegal and indecent reasons, then the person's dead, certainly makes him a suspect. The interview looked to me a little bit like a Hail Mary. Let's just go out there and see if we can pressure him into it and keep pointing out that we know he's lying. He said it's important to note he didn't know every detail of Delphi investigation team knows. Said he's sharing an observation based on time and experience with the FBI. Says the interview is clear. Police are looking for someone else who used the account. He said now the transcript is out. The other person likely knows, and investigators need a new plan of action. Klein has not been charged in Abby and Libby's murders. In fact, no one has been arrested. Well, now that it's been. So, yeah, the other person using
And
the account.
also, I heard, and this is a possible thing that when this all does eventually get to court, that his defense will try to introduce or suggest, for reasonable doubt reasons, that another person committed this. And because of those transcripts that were, they looked really bad for Keegan Kline, with some of the stuff he said in there, that they might try to kind of plant a seed of doubt and turn the eye on him as being the perpetrator of the murders of the girls. So, these types of things are all possible. Anything that has been released publicly that looks possibly incriminating towards another party, a third party, his defense will definitely be using that. And it's very possible they might, because I've seen it happen before, or they try to make it look like it's someone else because that someone else said da-da-da-da-da. So, I don't know, this case has really captivated me, that's for sure.
Yeah.
And I'm very interested in the legal side of it, but not knowing anything about the laws in general in America, and particularly in Indiana. I would like to learn a bit more about that side of it too. Just for myself.
Yeah, I'm just looking at this transcript. I mean,
Oh yeah, there's a lot in there. I went through at least 2 or 3 times. Of course, what I saw had redactions, but it was a real eye opener for me.
yeah. There's a secure with the passcode. So. I don't know. There's so much.
Oh yes, for sure.
Let's see what's going on here. What's this?
Sorry if I missed you in chat, people. I'm busy running my mouth and not looking at chat.
Fine, it's fine. Kevin's down there. He's done. The boss is working. Come on. And how are you?
I'm good, Nicole. How are you doing?
All right, I'm hanging in there.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's the way.
Yeah. Hope everybody in chat is doing well tonight. Kevin wants to know who he is connected to.
Who's who connected to?
I think who this man, the guy that they arrested just now, is connected to.
What?
I think that's what he's talking. Delphi. Richard Allen.
But what do you mean? Well, who is he connected to?
Well, he thinks the case is bigger than just Richard.
But he's not asking. He's asking not. I mean, he's not. He's asking a rhetorical question.
Right. Well, yeah. Who is he connected to? Keegan Kline? Could it be another person that was part? We don't know. We're hypothesizing, I guess.
Well, we do know that Keegan was uploading that horrible material. He was uploading it. He wasn't downloading it that someone else gave to him. He was uploading. He was, there were drop boxes, who knows with who, He was asked if anyone would have access to his personal accounts. At some point, he did seem to indicate that perhaps his father, but who knows? Because so many things in there, you can tell he's lying. You know, he just changed his story, and you can tell he's not telling the truth. Of course, he's not, but it's hard to say. It's really impossible to say who was receiving this information that he uploaded, who had access to his accounts. You know, apparently his father did. Tony, I think his father's name is. Anyway, it's just, it's an unknown thing. I mean, the authorities may know some of those links, but yeah.
Those are all good questions. I mean, we need to know these things. We'll find out eventually.
You know, I'm thinking may go to court as late as 2024. It is only a guess at this point. I wouldn't be surprised, I'll put it that way, if it doesn't go before a jury, or I suppose you can choose.
Didn't they say, well, they
judge,
said right now it's March 20th, isn't it?
I don't. I can't see that. There's too much. Nah, I can't. I would be knock me over with a feather if it happens that soon.
Yeah.
And they would be getting flooded right now with more information, and they have to follow up on all those things plus everything else. And no, I can't see it.
Okay. Just thinking out loud, Kevin. Okay, that's good to know.
I'm thinking late 2023, maybe even into 2024. It's only a guess.
I agree. I tend to agree with that because I think there's a lot more to this case.
Oh, yes.
Hi, Annie B.
They took him out of jail, Keating Klein, and didn't they fly him out there or take him out there?
They took him to Indiana. Now, where exactly the location the authorities took him to, I don't know, but I think he was there several days anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And the statement that his defense or his lawyer said that there were negotiations in progress. That's all they said. They used the word negotiations, and then they searched the Wabash River right after that. So
yeah, they did. Right after
so
that.
the terminology negotiations makes you think that he had some information, being as they took him from Florida back to Indiana. Then all of a sudden the word from his legal counsel used negotiations, and then the Wabash River search happened. And so that, yeah, so that's kind of how that went. It all
That was
seems
that was in August.
okay. I don't remember.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So not that long ago.
August 30th, 2022.
So September, October, just what, 60 days? 60 something days ago. No, it's, yeah. And I think they searched that river for what, 2 weeks, 3 weeks?
Divers
there a
searching
while.
the Wabash River near the Nickel Plate Bridges. Let's see. Klein was in negotiation with prosecutors, leading to a delay in his next court appearance. Court records around sealed last week show state police had court permission on the 19th to take Klein out of the Miami County Jail in Peru, but would not specify why.
I mean, just doesn't it seem more than coincidence And then 60 days or 60 whatever days after this, then this guy gets arrested after all these years. It'd be one heck of a coincidence in my mind. But then look, what would I know? I thought the case might go cold after a few years, and I didn't hear anything.
Mm-hmm. I don't know.
And apparently people that in the neighborhood, allegedly, that watched this search, from afar, of course, said that everyone was, there were, like a crime scene vehicle there, and the proper vehicles were there like that, but they were all dressed in, the people they saw, the authorities that they saw were all in plain clothes, and they knew, a lot of people know each other there. And apparently they knew that they were police because they knew some of these people personally and knew that they were police. But they were not dressed that way.
Mm.
But if it's true that they were there 12 hours, they did a pretty thorough search.
Yeah. I don't know. They have bags and stuff on the top of the water, it looks like.
Oh, yeah. I saw some photos that somebody that actually went there themselves and took photos, but I guess maybe I didn't peruse those photos thoroughly as I should have looked at them. I only glanced at, when they were searching that river, the photos that I saw. I didn't really look at them closely.
Mm-hmm. Uh-oh. I have here something here I was trying to look for. Okay. Hi, CIA mommy. How are you? I don't know. It's just no matter where you go. It's just here. We have questions we're not going to know. So. Let's see. Here's about Kathy Allen. Let's see what she say here. She was married. She and Richard. See, they have one daughter together. So there's another daughter on the page. That had to be. It wasn't a daughter. I mean, a girl. I think that was a niece or something. She is 8 months older than him. They got married November 19th, 1991. 1994, she gave birth to Brittany Allen. So, she was, those girls were 13 and 14. They were born 2003, 2004. So, what did I say she gave birth? 1994. She's that's quite a difference.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 10 years, 10 years.
Now, is the daughter, it's their daughter, it's not a daughter from a
No, it says in 1994 she gave birth to Brittany Allen. On November 19th, 2016, she took to Facebook to share a video of Richard inside their car. In the caption, she said he fell asleep in the car while waiting for her to finish shopping at the Von Moore Castleton Square Mall in Indianapolis. He's accused of killing Abigail Joyce Abby Williams, 13, Liberty Rose Lynn Libby German, 14, who disappeared on the Mountain High Bridge in Delphi, February 13, 2013. We know that. Let's see. On September 24th, 2018, Kathy and Richard visit Sugarland Shrine in Gatlinburg, Tennessee. So they went to Tennessee. So that would be interesting. September 2018, if anything happened in Gatlinburg, Tennessee. In December 2021, she and Richard were photographed in a bar in Delphi sitting in front of the sketch. We know that. On October 26, 2022, Richard was arrested in connection with the murders of William. Okay, we know all that. So the only thing is that date there. September 24th, Gatlinburg.
Now,
Sugarland
when they
Shrine.
did the search of Keegan Klein's and confiscated, all of the stuff they did out of his place, except for his main phone, which he handed in a couple days later, of course, totally erased and whatever. That was within just a couple weeks after the murders. So that they, and nobody knew about that. That he had any association. So they did that long ago. They knew. The authorities knew that there was a connection there. And that's why then in time they came out, remember? And they asked people, anyone to do that knew those two accounts. What was it? Anthony Schatz and what was the girl's? There was a girl's name one too.
I don't remember that
But
one.
anyway, yeah. So they knew about him all that time, and I could never understand why they didn't keep him in custody because he had all that horrible material, and I mean, it was ironclad. He couldn't really deny it, but yet they did let him out. I guess it's not known why. Now, maybe they've been looking at this Richard Allen for much longer than anyone's aware.
Maybe he gave some names,
I
Maybe.
don't know.
Keegan Klein gave him some names in exchange for less time or in exchange for something. Maybe this is.
He's looking at big time. He's got, I think, don't quote me, 30 counts at least. 30, I think. Keegan,
Right. It's connected in some regard. It has to be. It has
Yeah,
to be.
it's got to be. I think so too, Nicole. I do. It's just, and then just look how the dominoes started to fall. After they did arrest Keegan and after those transcripts accidentally, apparently there's two, I was reading about this, I think something a lawyer wrote or something. There's two backup systems so that those types of transcripts that are sealed don't accidentally get out, Obviously, some glitch happened and bypass those two backup systems. So, I don't know if it really did or like it was kind of oops. Those got out there for a little while.
I don't know.
But anyway, they obviously have precautions set up so that when transcripts are sealed, they don't accidentally get leaked. And apparently this particular one did for a fairly short period of time. But of course, there were people that spotted it while it was still there and downloaded those transcripts.
Hi,
Yeah.
Liza.
Eliza.
I believe they've been looking at him also. Talking about Robert Bob. Hopefully they don't get leaked. Oh my gosh, it did. Oh, the transcripts did, Janae. That's what she's talking about.
Yeah,
Deborah's talking
the
about.
Keegan Klein transcripts.
That happens a lot, right? How many things got
All the time.
got leaked?
Yeah.
What was the other thing recent beyond that? There's some other thing. I think it might have been in the Morphew case or something.
There was a Letitia Stout.
There was yeah. That was the one. Yeah, that got leaked,
mhm.
and a lot of times that happens.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
His
something-
name got leaked early. Yeah. It happens with social media. It's so
Mhm.
find
I think
something and it
it-
gets spread so fast. It's like
Yeah, and the
wildfire.
this Delphi case is so big. I think that it's bound to happen. That even we're finding out bits and pieces now without that we'll probably find out some of it to be true.
Yes.
In the future. Hmm. Liza, I sent you a message in I forgot to tell you that.
People talk.
But
about
I
it.
always kind of sit around and think about what is known, and my mind just works like that, and I'm trying to kind of piece it together. And even though I know I don't, nobody even knows the tip of the iceberg, my mind just works like that.
Right.
I can think of, well, if that happened, that could have made, it's kind of down the rabbit hole a little bit on there. But I try not to watch too much that's not, a good sound source type of thing. But
Right.
I do have my theories. I do. And sometimes, I'm kind of in the ballpark and sometimes way out of the ballpark. So I've done the same with this, I've taken what little we know and kind of thought, well, these things are seeming too coincidental. What makes more sense kind of thing. And
Yeah.
I know I'm going to be impatient, as a lot of people might be, but, for this to all kind of unfold and because when you think, I think it's been, well, would it be 5 years and 8 months? Oh, I don't know, since this, it's a long time.
Yeah, it'll be
for
6
me.
years in February, right? Yeah.
Yeah, for me holding an interest, like I said, kind of went on the back burner when you didn't hear anything for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, this is so unbelievable that you would actually have video, taped, like there's footage of him and they can't find him at such a small place. I could never get over that fact,
I think they know who he was for a very long time.
Well, those comments like hiding in plain sight, and you, for all I know, you could be in the room. Remember when he did those? Yeah. And so that kind of makes sense now.
The police,
Yeah.
early on, the police surmised it was somebody from the community. That's when they made those comments. They were sure it was somebody from the area,
Mm-hmm.
to know the area, and I know that at first there was some mention of the possibility of a dog. I don't know if anything came out of that or not, but that would be interesting.
I don't know, either animal hairs or something.
Yeah.
I heard something. Yeah. Well, I guess there would be other concrete reasons that they would have believed the person was local, but the familiarity that would seem like the person would have to be that brazen and that confident to be doing that type of thing there.
Right.
It seems that they would be familiar, and obviously the daughter was photographed on the bridge. He was very familiar with that area there.
When was that?
So
When was that picture taken of the daughter?
nobody knows, I don't think, when it was taken. Well, she would know, or he would know.
Well, it was posted.
Somebody
All we know
would
when it was posted, but it does look like a senior portrait. And if that's the case, and she was born in 1994, okay, do the math, 18. So it would be 2002, which she would have been, no, I'm talking about 2012.
Yeah.
She would, is that right?
I don't know.
Yeah. 2012, so say 2011, 2012, 5 years maybe earlier for a senior portrait or something like that.
How bizarre that it's posted like within 12 months after the murders
Right.
on her Facebook. If a photo's that old, why all of a sudden are you reposting or posting that?
Someone said
within
maybe
months?
it was engagement photos because of her wedding, but why would he not be in the engagement photo, the fiance?
I don't know.
So I don't know.
I have no idea. And we know
It's just the timing of that posting of that, whether it was previously posted or not, or when it was taken. Just the timing of it.
but again,
You
we
know,
don't,
within a year after those murders, within months, it's just a bit eerie.
again, that was under the wife's account, so we can't really confirm if it was her, the wife, or he, if it was him posting that. Because wasn't it on
That's
her?
right.
Yeah. I mean, Elements is maybe she's involved, but you know, not
But
saying
why
that,
would you
but
put that there? Like if she knew, like, why would you put that there, right?
I know.
And if
Yeah.
that photo was taken so far in the back, why all of a sudden is it showing up in there? Where was the motivation all of a sudden? Oh, we need to dig up that old photo of her on the bridge and post it. Like, why that? I don't know, I'm thinking maybe he posted it. You know, it's just sick in the head. It's possible. Very possible he had access to her Facebook account.
Yeah.
Did he not ever have one, or that's not, you don't know?
Not that I saw anyone pull up for any amount of time, you know.
Okay. Well, maybe he used hers.
Maybe.
Maybe he got some kind of sick thrill about posting that on her Facebook. Who knows?
I don't know.
But definitely possible he had access to her Facebook.
Very.
What,
I mean-
Nicole?
I said, yeah, it's very possible. Very. I said, very possible that he had access to her Facebook, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he didn't look like a happy guy, really, you know, in any of the pictures. Like, she would joke around with him, and he was, you know,
Yeah.
very stone-faced.
Well, it was also possible he was very guarded,
Yeah.
not wanting anyone to recognize him, right?
Yeah. I wonder if anybody went missing in Gatlinburg around that
I just
time.
did a little search for that.
Are you serious?
Oh, I did, yeah.
And not anybody? Did anything
Not
come
right
up?
away, not right off, no. Not that would seem connected.
I mean, a crime of opportunity. I mean, to see them in that time, in that place, and have control over two girls, to have a weapon to do that, to have a weapon to murder them, to be able to have the time to stage them, to take us here. Too coincidental. I mean, I just don't think it's his first time killing.
Right, yeah.
And I think there was a reason he was there.
Mm-hmm.
But beyond,
Definitely not random. You know, he had to come prepared for this.
I mean, beyond that,
Random, I mean,
no.
yeah.
how Keegan Klein is involved, if he is involved in it in any way. It remains a mystery, and we'll find out. And how big this thing is, it could be possibly how big this thing is. If it is some kind of P ring,
Mm-hmm.
then hopefully it'll be exposed.
Well, if Keegan had drop boxes, and they've stated he did, he was sharing that information. So there's something going on there. Or that horrible stuff. He
Right.
was sharing that. So there was definitely other people involved in that side of the coin.
Element says, sorry, I have to go. My knee is bothering me. I'm very, very sorry.
Oh, sorry, LMNW. I hope your knee feels better.
I hope you feel better. We love you.
Love you. Have a good
Kevin
night.
says, get good rest.
Get good rest, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm just trying to do two birds with one stone. So tomorrow we'll be having an auction, and you can join us, of course, in the evening after the auction. We'll do some, go through any cases. Like the Valva trial won't be in session tomorrow, so there'll be nothing to cover on that. But whatever goes on, we'll do some true crime after. And I'm trying to think of what else. What else do we have coming up? We're going to
Everything
have a candle making coming up. We're going to start get into the crafts now that we're moving full swing into holiday mode. I'd like to we did a cookie exchange kind of thing last year where we came on and baked some cookie recipes. Maybe do that again. Maybe do some more crafting besides the candles. Maybe bringing what I discussed was like making ornaments. Maybe you could think of 3 ornaments to make and then like demonstrate them in a craft night, and everybody can make them. And if you put your supplies ahead of time, we can all make them on panel. Even if one person thought of one ornament and there were 10 people up there, that would be 10 ornaments people could make to give as gifts or to put on their own trees. That would be a fun thing to do. So let me know what you think about that. And the candles, like I said, I also have to get back to what I promised about the New York Times cookie recipes that we're supposed to go through and do some more of those. That can be in conjunction with the cookie exchange, and just doing some more craft nights and having some
That
fun
sounds
between.
fun, Carolyn, ahead of the holidays. In your country, it sounds funny for me to say that with my accent. Yeah, Thanksgiving coming up, of course. And,
Right, yeah. Thanksgiving.
You know,
Thanksgiving will be here before we know it. I can't believe it's already be November 2nd tomorrow. And craziness. But we're supposed to have a mild week. Jimmy says it's supposed to be unseasonably warm, so that's good.
oh, that's nice.
Yeah, definitely nice. And,
After I spend like 600 in oil. Yeah.
well, you need the oil anyway,
Yeah,
Don't even
yeah.
talk about oil right now.
I know it.
Well, yeah, please.
Day by day. Okay, just day by day.
Yeah.
That you have to take it.
That's right. We got through today.
Right.
Now we'll worry about tomorrow.
Even 1 hour at a time.
Yeah.
If we have to go that slow, we can.
Mm-hmm.
Don't overwhelm yourself. I won't overwhelm myself if you don't overwhelm yourself, okay?
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Let's do that.
Okay, just caution against any preconceived notions of the future.
Right.
Yeah, ever, right? Because you don't know.
You don't know. That's like I told you today, right? I said, I can stress about stuff, and then what I think, and maybe some people think it's like morbid or whatever, because I think one of you were like, "What is she talking about?" But I'm like, you could be at a store and you could be stressing about how much something cost her. The bird seed is twice the price, or the dog food, or you need this, and it's so much, and all this stuff. But then, you stress about all this stuff, but What if you got killed on the way home?
Yeah.
Then it's done. It's over. It's like, why are you stressed? Like, just, I know you stress about stuff but it's like, really, it just, I don't know. It sounds like I said it morbid, but whatever, but it's like,
At you, I get that.
it's
I
just
know
like, it
that.
kind of brings me to reality. Like,
Mhm.
why, life is not forever. We don't know when life is going to end. Life is short. Just take
And
it
there's
sometimes
little
in the
things-
moment.
right.
And okay, if you have enough, and you got the dog food, okay, you got the dog food, your dog's fed. Don't worry about the next time if you have to get dog food right now. You know what I mean? It's just like,
Right.
stay in the,
Exactly.
that's what I'm telling you.
It's not
You know,
more.
it
I know.
always works out, though. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not a person that, I do stress, I have stressed in my life. Fortunately, not very often.
Mm-hmm.
It's just my personality, I think, so.
Yeah, and sometimes,
I'm
things
stressed.
work out, right? They work out, or even something that might be changing, or you're like upset about something. Oh, this isn't going this way, but it causes you to go in another direction, and you find out that direction is, just been like what would happen if you didn't go in that direction.
Well, even this is the thing, though. Even if it turns out bad, it's still good because you've learned from it. Okay, you've learned from it. If it's something that happens or you miss an appointment or whatever, it's okay. You don't stress over it. It's okay because it's not going to change the fact
Mm-hmm.
that it happened. You missed the appointment or whatever. You just have to move forward from there. And it might be something way harder than missing an appointment. And that's why you have to allow yourself to go slow. You have to allow yourself that.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah.
And with the really important things in life, like life itself, a lot of these things are not under our control.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a hard thing to accept that the most precious things in life, those things, a lot of things to do with that or not. I mean, we can decide maybe if we're fortunate enough what we're going to have for dinner. We can decide when a bill should be, all these should be paid and all these things. But what happens with the most precious things in life, a lot of times you don't have any control over that.
You're rambling recruiter.
It's not your decisions to be made.
Yeah, so rambling recruiter says death puts things into perspective. I agree. It sure does. That changes things a lot.
Life is just made up of a lot of probably just, small, seemingly in the big picture, petty, everyday, mundane things, isn't it? For the most part. And then every once in a while you get something that is not. It's just how life is,
Mm-hmm.
It's just made up of a lot of small, kind of fairly insignificant things that we have to do.
To
But then, of
preserve-
course, you
Yeah.
get the events that are life-changing, and those
Mhm.
things generally are things that we did not have any control over.
We don't have control over much if you think about it, really.
That's right.
No control
It's
over
very
what's
humbling, and it's not such an easy pill to swallow, that is for sure.
But if you have friends and you know that there are people around you that care about you, truly care about you, and family that love you, and the people that look out for you, people that love you and care about you and want your best interest in mind and have your best interest in mind. And it's just having that on the day to day to go through life with people. It just, it makes things a little bit easier.
Mm-hmm.
And there would be people that don't have that also. So you just have to count your blessings. I do
Everything.
every day, at least once a day. Even the small things, just take the time to just kind of honor those small things.
Mm-hmm.
Even sometimes, I'll be like cleaning my kitchen. I'm thinking, oh, I don't feel like doing this. But then, if I think about it, what a privilege to be
Right.
able to buy groceries. What a privilege to be able to have food on my table.
Mhm.
where's, my mind is not looking at this in the correct way.
Mhm.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's true.
And there's always, well, I don't know. It's just, we don't have to stress you if you didn't really feel like it, and I mean, not leave your food out and let it perish or anything, but if you didn't get to those dishes, they'd probably still be waiting there for you in the morning. And you could
Yes.
pamper yourself and take a little rest if you needed that, if your body needed that. It's okay to give yourself permission to rest.
Yes, unfortunately, at my home anyway, they don't pack bags and leave the house.
And there's no little elves that come in and do those chores while you're sleeping
No.
either, right?
No little gremlins or
No.
anything that come after midnight.
No.
Yes, yeah. So even those chores, lately I've been having some work done on the house, as some of you know, and
Mm.
it's not a lot of fun and all that, but it is a privilege to have a roof over your head, and it's just I have to keep my thinking where it should be. That's all.
That's right.
And
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you just don't know what tomorrow brings. Who knows? Isn't tomorrow the lottery drawing again?
Oh yeah, we have to get it.
One of us could be a billionaire tomorrow. You don't know, and then you say, "Why did I worry about, the price of dog food or groceries?"
well, they
or
say
eggs or
90-something% of what you worry about never
Doesn't happen,
eventuates
right, yeah.
anyway.
And it's usually what you didn't think about that happens.
Exactly.
Mhm.
It's always what you didn't think about.
But so we have that stuff coming up. We'll hope that you guys have fun. And we have a lot of fun for the members. We go on all kinds of things. So if you're not a member, you might consider joining. It's very economical. $1.99 a month is what memberships start at, and that would entitle you to be in Zooms with us when we are not live here, and when we are live here also. But when we're not, and go on field trips during the day. We went on some field trips today and went to some cool places. And then sometimes we record those and have those for member videos. And then we do, we got to get back now to our reading, finishing some books here, but just fun things. So you might want to consider that. And I don't know, I think I'm going to start up a new Zoom.
On your
And
app, right? Don't
What?
forget to hit the like.
oh
I told
yeah, hit the
everybody to
likes.
not
Yeah,
forget.
please hit the likes. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to start a new Zoom, so everybody's going to leave for a second. Uh-oh, but I'm still here. I'm still here. I'll be right here. Here I come. Here she comes. Hold on. For some reason it wants me over on this screen, and you need to be over here. And invite. Invite. Copy invitation. And, sometimes it's nice when we have new members. Lisa L., thank you for stopping in. Like I said, I was, I think, driving through the mountains. My reception was sketchy at that time, is what I'm told. And I'm sorry that I missed you coming on, and I hope that you do come on again. And please don't forget about the auction tomorrow. I think we'll start that. Well, we don't have a concert breaking it up, so we'll probably do that around 9. I'm going to send Annie B a link. Yeah, I'll take care of that right now. I'm also going to put it on the community. And the Patreons. Yep. Okay. Do that first. Post and do the Patreon. I'm just trying to see something here. Thought that. Hang on one second. I thought we had a.
Hey,
Hey.
did you put it in Slack? Because I know Deborah Vancouver can't get the community tab on her iPad.
Deborah Vancouver. Yo, I'm putting it in Slack now. I just doing the Patreon. Hang on one second. Let me just see one thing here.
Am I the one in here? It's so quiet.
I know. Trying to look at something here. This was. Okay. I just got caught up in answering a
Yes, you go.
message here. So yeah, I'm going to get them out. Hang on. Just want to see one
No,
thing
it's
here.
cool. I
For a
totally
second.
forgot we were live. I did. I really did.
For a second. Oh, we're live.
Oh, hey.
Yeah.
Hey,
You didn't
Jen.
say anything. Okay, I'm just putting the Patreon link in. I just had to do this. Sorry. And I'm going to
Yeah,
put it
Deborah
in Slack.
Vancouver did.
I'm putting it in Slack. And I'm going to send it to Annie B.
See, Sherry M just heard a pin drop. It was so quiet.
Hi, Sherry. How are you?
It was so quiet, Sherry. That's my whisper voice.
Okay, let me do this. Co-host this.
Why am I the only one in here? God.
Because they're coming in. They're coming in. It's because I just didn't put it in Slack yet. I'm doing it right now.
Okay, I heard a ding.
Mm-hmm.
Who is it?
It's Debbie D.
Debbie D.
Hey, Nicole.
There you
Hi,
are.
Debbie
Good
D.
morning.
Let me send to Annie B.
Hey, Carolyn.
Hi, Annie B.
Where have you been, Debbie?
Well, I'm
You-
actually trying to get my sleep schedule straightened out because I go back to work next week.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it's
I don't
okay.
want you to go though.
I know, but
Like the party's over, it feels like.
nah. There's plenty other ones here. You just have to fill me in when I'm here.
That's not gonna be the same.
Yeah.
Nothing
I
ever
can't
stays
say.
the same, Nicole. Nothing ever stays the same.
No, things change.
No,
Lots
they
of
don't.
cars.
The only
life,
constant
yeah,
in
it's
life is that things change, right?
They don't have to. They don't have to.
Nicole, you cracked me up with your what'd you say before? Even when it's bad, it's good.
It is though, but it's not. It is, but it's not when it's happening. You still have to feel it though, right? You like feel the emotion of it. That's good.
Anyone else
That's a
said
good
that,
thing.
it wouldn't make sense, but coming from you, it actually does.
But it does make sense though. You have to feel the emotion of it, but you still have to push forward. You know.
And
And
Carolyn,
that's the
you're
good thing.
killing me. You nearly had me there. I was like feeling good about things, and then you go, besides, it's the thing that you're not thinking about that you forget to let out.
She's like, you could die on your way home. But it's true though.
Okay,
I
somebody
mean,
just emailed me and said that they were subscribed to our channel, and I know the person, and I just not going to dox them. But then they found out they were unsubscribed and they don't know how. So, yeah, check it. If you're not getting notifications or something, yeah, to make sure that you're subscribed. It must be a YouTube glitch just to resubscribe.
Happened to me
There's a
3
lot of
times.
channels that have been mentioning that no one's getting notifications and stuff either.
Yeah, and make sure
Isn't
your
that-
bell is set to all notifications. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It is set, but I did have to check it 3 times, and it was like the 3rd time it stuck.
Yeah. I have to check and see when you're live on your page because it doesn't, I don't get notifications.
Mm-mm. Margot is coming in the house. Take your shoes off, Margot. Here we go.
Hey, Margot.
Hi. Margot, you're on the night shift now with us.
Yay, Margot.
Tell you what.
Okay. All right. Let me see now. Okay, so I
Kevin was
think,
unsubbed twice.
yeah, somebody
before.
just.
Change is good. Yes, Sherry.
No, it's not. I hate change.
Yeah.
It's good, but it's not.
It's good even if it's bad.
But it's hard.
or sorry, even if it's bad, it's good.
Yeah, but it is.
Mrs. Mike, you changed.
Right.
Yeah.
Even though you don't see it now, like it's like in the future, like you just it works out.
Oh,
Well, it's inevitable, so get used to it.
Right. Yep, that's very true.
I live in denial.
Very true. But look at it this way, Nicole. I might not be here as much, but I'm going back to work, which means
That's
I'm back
exciting,
on the
Debbie.
options. Do what?
That's exciting that you're going back to work. You must be so
Yes.
glad.
I am.
When you
And
go
then
back,
I will
Debbie,
be able to participate more in the auctions again.
How long has it been that you've been off? Weeks
It's
now.
it's been a little over 5 months.
5 months.
Yes,
My
ma'am.
gosh. So it hasn't seemed that long. It must seem long to you.
Oh, it does. Yes.
Mhm.
Okay, so
It
everybody
does.
in the chat, thank you for coming. Sherry, you should come into a Zoom one night. You might like that. Do you see the on the community tab the number? You feel free to call in. All right. Love you guys. God bless. Prayers for all that need them, and we'll see you tomorrow, hopefully at the auction. Okay. All right. Bye. Thank
Good
you,
night,
the moderators.
everyone.
Thank you,
Good
guys.
night. Love to all.
Let me see here. How do I end that? Okay, and that. Let me end this.